Under the cloud. Let me just pop over. I think we're there. All right. Hey guys, it is Nicole with Conversations with StayWildChild. And I can't believe it, but this is my last conversation of 2020. Thanks, Kim, for being on.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So nice to see you. You look all,
Good to
I was saying, you look all gorge today.
Thanks, love. Right back at you, sister. So, guys, this is gosh, okay, it's like the world is so big and yet so small. And it's interesting how many connections Kim and I have in common. And we were just kind of chatting about that right before we went live. But, I've seen your face probably a couple of times via Zoom with
Right.
Andrea Housey on when she was doing, so we do this little thing called Intuitive Happy Hour. And we're not actually having cocktails, although we could because we have so much fun. We laugh so much. We do this
Next time we
happy
should.
hour. Yeah. But her and I met through Zoe, which is, did you know that Zoe is the one who prompted me to start this?
No. Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yes.
No.
So last year I was speaking at the Quantum Revolution tour and with Jessica Alstrom. I was speaking at her tour and it was about finding your play. And so it was, finding whatever lights you up, what makes you, your inner child come alive, finding your play. So that was my, little chat, if you will, on stage. And we did a lot of dancing and a lot of fun. And Zoe came up to me on break and she said, I know you have your Stay Wild Child group. Have you ever thought about like doing a podcast or a vlog or something to bring women on and empower them? You're great with connection and conversation. I'm like, holy shit, Zoe, that is a freaking great idea.
Why didn't I think of it myself?
Yeah. So I came straight home. Within a week or two, I had my first guest on Stay Wild Child. That was a year ago. And then come back full circle. You're my last show of 2020. And Zoe's the one who connected us and introduced us. But we have, several other connections as well.
I love it. I love the synchronicities and the divine timing and just like the connections. So thank you so much for having me. And I love and am inspired by what you're doing and excited to be on and just get to know you better.
Well, so exactly. I feel exactly the same. Although we have seen each other, we haven't had a good conversation. So this will be a good conversation. Yeah. All right. So I always like to start. This group is Stay Wild Child, and it's helping women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be. We get stuck in so many roles as women, and this societal push of what it looks like to be the multitasking woman who accomplishes everything in her day and then gets home with a smile on her face. And, it's just this, like, I don't know. For me anyway, I thought that I had to live this perfect, example of what a woman was. So everybody's looks just a little bit different. And so take me back to where you were. I saw on your website, I was looking just right before we popped on, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I saw you use the word light worker on your website. And so take me back where you were before you started using that term and you stepped into your magic and before you decided, hey, I'm a light worker. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the best term. I love it. And I love that I actually can call myself that. But yes, I mean, I definitely, I love how you talk about there is no perfect. I still, even though I feel like I'm living the life that I wanted and manifested my dreams, you still have challenges. You still have things that happen in your life. But I would say my real journey, I mean, I started, I've dealt with some sexual abuse in my life, in my family, and found myself at 19 years old weighing almost 190 pounds at 5'2". And so I feel like, part of my journey was really kind of dealing with some of those things. I come from divorce. I come from being overweight, questioning my self-confidence and all of those things. And so that's really where my journey began. Is my father saw me when I came home from college one day and I weighed 188, almost 190 pounds, and he knew I needed help. And we immediately checked into the eating disorder unit in Dallas, Texas. And I was so thankful and so grateful. I remember I was down on my knees praying for someone to help me. And it ended up being my dad, who saw the pain that I was suffering. And so from that point, I really began my journey of just therapy and going to Overeaters Anonymous meetings and truly shifting and becoming more aware of my entire physical, mental, spiritual body.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible when you bring awareness to it? It starts to shift everything. Is that one of their main messages, is the awareness of it?
I mean, I think the awareness of the main message of who?
Of when you were in counseling and shifting your pattern that you had developed.
Yeah, I think I saw myself kind of from my head up most of my life, just kind of looking around like from my head up, not really connecting with my heart, with my intuition. I feel like that shift, truly, I started working with a counselor named Donna LeBlanc, and she started giving me these tools to understand, you mentioned earlier, my inner child and all of the little girl that, got neglected or that didn't get her needs met or that was struggling. And so being able to kind of fully connect my, the inner child and know that I have access to everything I'm supposed to be, like inside my heart, like, oh my gosh, I mean, I get goosebumps when I actually say it right now. And just, started that journey when I was 19, 20 years old. And it's only deepened with my spirituality in the last, I would say more so in the last 5 to 7 years. But working with deep therapy was the beginning of my big shift.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. So I love your motto, Corporate Hippie.
Thank you.
That is fantastic. So it's no longer, so nobody can, get in it now, but hippie was my password for many, many years. Hippie 71. That was my password on all my accounts for years because I've always considered myself a hippie. And I was in corporate America for a long time. So are you still in corporate America? Or
I'm not.
No? Okay. All right.
I'm not in corporate America. I mean, so basically, I moved to California about 2 years ago to be with the love of my life. And so during that move, how you say the universe will kind of like force things to happen if you don't take action. We know that happens. So basically, I moved here and I got laid off within 6 months of one, like my big job, like really kind of the foundation of writing the book, The Corporate Hippie, the team that I built. So I was defined a lot by that. So I got laid off. I got a job in 3 weeks. I got laid off again. And so I was like, okay, I get the message. I'm supposed to be still. So I've been still for about a year and 3 months now. And during that time, I really just got to be with my bonus kids and Dave and think about what I wanted my next chapter to be. And out of that has come the book, The Corporate Hippie. And it is the dichotomy, right? I was in the corporate world for 31 years. And then I think I started my spiritual awakening probably about 7 years ago. And how I unknowingly, just intuitively ran my team and my business. And I built a business from 700,000 to 30 million with a team of badass spiritual diva ladies. So and cool. I feel like there's something to share there with corporate America. The good old boys club is dead, Nicole, dead.
I got chills all over when you said that. I love someone who can come in and take the non-traditional and spin it. And I mean, what a manifestation. What were those numbers again?
700,000 is when I kind of started the company, and I built it to almost $30 million and they ended up, so I got laid off. The man that they kept, I had built 4 times the revenue as him, but you know what? I bless it now. It was a gift because I was meant to be on this journey. And that's part of everything, right? Is my ex-husband, like that was a gift that led me to Dave. So it's all divine timing and all amazing synchronicities.
Isn't that interesting? Because I know at least myself personally, if I had been in corporate America and I had built a team to that amount, it's almost like your identity starts to wrap up in that role, in that title. And so when you got laid off, you're like, that's my freaking baby. I mean, right. What? But now you're writing a book about it that's going to touch so many more people than just that minute team that you ran. Not that your team wasn't special and amazing and all of that, right. But such a small, it's just such a smaller piece that you had your hands on.
That's my hope. And, part of my journey too, Nicole, has just been trusting that I have something unique to say and really owning that. And yes. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to not do it all right. But I just really building that self-confidence of I have a unique voice. I have a unique experience. And if it touches two people that changed their lives because of my story, then that's what it was meant to do.
Absolutely. It's, have you found when writing this book, I'm assuming that you have done a lot of it, has it been an intuitive piece that has come to you? Have you found, are there different things that you practice at to allow that flow to begin to where you're able to just kind of just pours out of your heart, basically?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. Thank you so much. I started a couple of years ago with the foundation of it, not really even knowing what was happening, I guess. And I've always been a journaler. But I was noticing more and more in yoga or in my meditation sessions I always say stillness is where the magical shit happens. I was getting downloads of I would wake up at 3:00 in the morning, and I'm sure this happens to you, where I was getting whole text and whole, like literally channeling, not coming from me. This is not coming from me. This is coming from source. Right. This is coming from, I got goosebumps, my angels, my guides, my, this is not me. And I remember driving in the car with my best friend at the time, and it literally, the name, the Corporate Hippie, dropped in my head probably 3 years ago. Yeah. Before I even had the idea of writing the book. So it's absolutely been through source, through God, that has done this.
That's so incredible. I had a StayWildChild came to me probably, I guess it's probably been about 3 years ago now. And I started the group a couple of years ago, and I didn't really know what it was going to be or what it was going to, what it was going to turn into, but I just began, and I just put it out there, and I'm like, this is StayWildChild. I had this vision, and it was me on the back of my dad's motorcycle when I was a little girl. And I probably actually wasn't on the back of my dad's motorcycle. I was probably on the front. However, in my little meditation vision, I was on the back, and I had my hands in the air, peace sign, up. And I had this like, StayWildChild, right? Like, be that little girl on the back of the motorcycle, And so I started the group and didn't know exactly where it was going to go, and still don't know exactly what it's going to morph into, but I'm excited about the unknown, but like letting go of control and yet just continuing to move forward, right down the path. And sometimes it's slower, but sometimes it really, you really start to gain traction. So so if you had this idea a couple of years ago, are you at the place now? Like, is it moving? Are you moving faster, or what's happening?
It is moving faster. All of those eclipses and stuff started to move things faster a little bit. I've really been doing a lot of cleansing and clearing the last, I would say, 4 months, and especially the last 2 months. So now I'm at the point, I'm in my third editing of the manuscript, working with an editor.
You're really moving fast. That's good.
I'm excited. Cool. I hired a book coach, Tracy Farron, to help me around the self-publishing aspect, because I think, Nicole, I got out of my own way. I had these perfection. Oh, it needs to look like, a book like Oprah or Dr. Phil or something like that, or it needs to look like Rachel Hollis. Like, you know what? It doesn't need to look like that. it can come in a different form. And so for me, I feel like putting myself out there, self-publishing the book was the way to go for me. And I'm going to also put out there that a publisher is going to reach out to me once I do that. That's what I believe, but I'm just going to not wait. I'm going to get out of my own way and put it out there. So, and that's what I've been doing, like on social media and all of this. I, like you mentioned, like you were saying about StayWildChild, just one little action I've been doing, like, hiring an editor, hiring somebody to help me figure out the self-publishing piece, and then just trusting that the universe is going to lead the divine right people to my path. Boom.
I like it. Absolutely. It's so good. I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait to read your book. I was corporate America for quite a few years in my early.
What did you do?
I sold antivirus software for McAfee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that for quite a while with large corporate accounts and that kind of thing. And it was in that position, worked with some recruiters and that type of deal for a period of time. But I guess my mom kind of dropped the entrepreneur little nudge in my whole family, because I think we're all pretty much self-employed now. Even my son is giving that a go. So I think, he's doing great at it too. But it's still that book. It's such an important message, because even, whatever position you're in, you can take that knowledge and that manifestation and you can apply it to any area of your life.
Absolutely. And that's part of what I talk about too, is, let's be real, like what's happening with Zooms, like our work is happening, like we're getting energy from people in our homes. They're seeing our pets, they're seeing our partners, they're seeing our lifestyle. So like starting to have more people and more managers that are aware of this and really helping what's best and highest for their employees. Like, why would you treat your family? And I call them spiritual families at work, is kind of what I guess calling it, so to speak. Why would you treat your family different than you do your work family? Like, there's no separation anymore. It all has to be integrated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Can you imagine if you would have had that back in corporate America, right? I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh, it was a totally different ball game back then. So yeah. All right. So let's chat about, you said you manifested, you moved to California, and his name's Dave?
Dave, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So did you meet Dave in California, or did you know him before you moved out? And is that why you took the job? How did you manifest your relationship?
I met him on Bumble.
Okay.
When I was vacationing, I won a trip on my corporate job, and I was vacationing with my best friend, and we went to Newport Beach. And I was like, I'll just get on and see who's on Bumble. And he was one of the people I connected with, and I didn't meet him immediately. I was like, no, I'm not leaving my friend. So we started talking on the phone, and 10 days later, we talked on the phone every day. I flew to California for business 2 weeks later. And I walked, saw him, our eyes met, and, love of my life. I mean, I've never looked back, even though we did break up for 4 months. It was the best thing that could have happened. But
sure.
It was time to, if we were going to be together, I needed to move to California.
So you mentioned your age earlier, and I don't know if you mentioned it while we were on this conversation, but you mentioned it maybe prior when we were talking. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Oh, 53.
Yeah, I'm 49. Yeah, and I have a lot of friends. This is the reason I'm saying this. I have a lot of friends who, they kind of get stuck in that, I'm too old. And I'm like, what? Like, no, what society belief said that you're too old for anything, right?
Like too old for what? To recreate your life at any moment? I mean, right?
Exactly. That's why I wanted to say it out loud, because I feel like I've shifted my life so many times, and taken a new direction and taken a new path, and I met my husband on Match. We've been married for, well, it'll be 11 years on New Year's Eve. And so, you know, there's always, I mean, like, nothing is ever stuck, right?
Right. No, absolutely. And I mean, I have friends who don't want to meet somebody online, and that's,
Right.
again, no judgment, right? It just, it happens. But for me,
Yeah.
I was like, well, if I'm cool and awesome, then there's got to be someone else cool and awesome. And so I'm so glad that I did. And I don't have kids of my own. So now I have, from my first marriage, I have two bonus sons from my first marriage. Then I have a 7 and 10-year-old and a 26-year-old. So I've got 5 bonus kids after having none of my own.
Yeah. But, well, that's just, what a blessing.
Yeah, it is. And
So,
you know, I think part of it is, like you were saying, I feel like part of my role in these kids' life is to just help them remember who they are and who their souls came here to be, and help give them that unshakable knowledge that they can trust their intuition to get all the information that's inside here. Like, that's part of what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet, is helping these little people in my life.
exactly. Conscious parenting
Yes.
parenting from their bonus mom.
Yes.
It's
I
so
don't know
awesome.
I don't know how the real mom is going to feel about it, but, you know, hey, I'm
Well,
doing what's in my heart, and my goal is to just, you know, do no harm, to just simply be a cheerleader for them.
yeah. Yeah. I remember one of, so like I said, I met Zoe through that Jessica Alstrom tour. And I've shared this experience before, but I was with my son. He did not go to that tour, but I was sitting next to Jessica. It was her tour, the Quantum Revolution tour. And I got a brunch where I got to sit right next to her. And so she started talking about her son. And I started talking about my son. And I started saying how vibrant he was. And he would just be like this great, like, online presence. And he would be, and this is before my StayWildChild show. Okay. He would be this great online presence. And I could see him really traveling around the world and doing these events. And she said, "That's what you want. That's not what he wants." And I said, "What? Holy shit." I burst into tears. I'm like, "Oh my God." So I came home. My son is Lane. He was probably 19 or 20 at the time. He's 22 now. So I came home and I said, "Lane, you can do whatever you want in life. Was I pushing what I wanted on you? I'm sorry." He's like, "It's okay, Mom." And I'm like, "Okay." But it was interesting. And now I have a show, StayWildChild. I went to Jessica's event and I spoke on her tour a year later.
Amazing.
And
oh my gosh.
Up until recently, yeah, I've still traveled some this year, but, you know, it's just interesting the way that we really become aware of what we're saying, you know, to our children. And, you know, I thought mine was just, you know, the cool hippie mom, right? Like, yeah, I don't care if you go to college, just do blah, 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 you know, just, you should become
you had it all mapped out. You had it mapped out for him.
I did. But, you know, it's just, yeah. So that conscious parenting is really, it's really incredible.
Can you tell me the name of Jessica again? What is that? Quantum Revolution? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, Quantum Revolution Tour, Jessica Alstrom. Zoe and her are really good friends.
All right, I got to check that out next.
Yeah, you definitely should. Yeah, Jessica, wow, she really helped me quickly get in and heal some things that really kind of changed the trajectory of, you know, the way I was heading. So it was good. Good stuff.
I love that.
Yeah. So, all right. So are you doing some coaching as well?
I'm open to do some consulting right now. I haven't started that yet. I mean, part of what my number one focus has been to finish the book. So I actually have that, you know, it's just credibility of kind of what I'm putting out there. But I am putting myself out there for coaching. I'm working on podcast. I'm trying to I'm just reaching out to anyone who will listen to my message, because I'm finally kind of fearlessly putting myself out there. So I'm kind of like, I'm open to whatever flows from that. And then I think part of what's interesting for me is I try something and then it leads me closer to what I know I want to do, or kind of like it changes the direction. And so I think that's the coolest thing right now, because I don't want it to feel like work. I want it to feel like fun.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, you always want to be in your play, right?
I know, right? And still make a shit ton of money, Nicole.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I am all about it. All about it. And when it turns into not being play and fun anymore, then there's some little adjustments or some little tweaks that you need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I honestly, I don't know what my path is, but I'm open to anything that the universe kind of drops in my lap or wants to connect me with. So bring it on.
So I saw that you have a podcast. Have you began that podcast?
I'm just a guest on podcast right now. So I'm not, I don't know if podcasting is in my future as a host like you. Like, you're doing such a beautiful job. I'm like, I mean, maybe down the road, but I'm kind of just exploring, I think, being a guest right now to, working on my branding and just really kind of trying to figure out, that's part of the thing when you start out. It's not exactly clear how you're branding and who you are and what you want to say. And I might be making I might look back at this 6 months from now and go like, what were you saying on Nicole Stay Wild, webcast? But right now it feels authentic to me. And I'm going to keep putting one step in front of the other.
That's exactly what you should do. I think that I know, at least for myself, when I get stuck in the trying to figure it out, when I get stuck in, like, I have this whole workshop on this board. There's a whiteboard hanging, which you can't see. There's a whiteboard hanging right next to that door. It is packed full of words. It's packed full of, it's to put a workshop together. And I was putting so much pressure on myself, and some of it flowed, but then I got to a stuck point, and I said, you know what? When I can get back into the fun and the flow of it, that's when it's ready for, because I think that we have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that we want to take action on. And if we step into it and we practice a little bit, but maybe it's just maybe not the right timing of it. And I know for that workshop for me, it just wasn't quite the right timing. Absolutely. I think that I'll come back to it because I think it's got a lot of good information in it. It's just not quite where I wanted it for 2020. For me,
and that's what I'm getting so many downloads into my brain right now from, being still and what's happening. And I think for me, being able to be still, to close my eyes, to listen to my heart and truly discern what is for now and what is for later. And I know what is for me will happen. Like and like you said, trusting that flow, and like when my body needs rest, I'm resting. So I'm not pushing anything right now, Nicole. Like, if I was meant to be on your podcast, it was going to happen. And I've reached out to a few people, and I feel like, okay, if it's for both of our best and highest, it will happen. And if it's not for me. And that is the biggest blessing. And that is like my mantra, honestly, right now. That's my mantra.
So you fully stepped into 5D.
Yes. But but I'm having, but when I say that, I'm still then having these experiences where 3D pulls me back, like, something happens and it's still that idea of I'm a spiritual being in a physical body, and just kind of like, oh, you shouldn't be angry, or, oh, you shouldn't let that person bother you. It's that weird kind of thing of, I don't know. It's going into the 5D world, and knowing that it's all just energy and it's all love and it's all like, I get excited when I talk about it, and it's all like just forgiveness and, but it's still like we're human and we have challenges, and especially me going out into this world, like putting myself out there. And I don't know what happened to you, but I'm definitely, some things are coming up, for me, and I know it's for my best and highest, but like I'm being presented with these opportunities to be like, do you really want to do this, Kim? Do you really want to do this?
So is the universe seeing if you're serious about it?
Yes. They're giving me outs, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not taking them. I'm serious
Yeah.
about it.
You're serious. Right. I gotcha. So what is, give me, so I'm assuming you've probably, since you've been talking about downloads and that kind of thing, have you, what have you noticed some of your biggest aha moments have been over 2020?
Oh gosh. The truly the stillness that I've been able to cultivate by going on my silent walks. But I don't drive with music on and the radio on in the car anymore. I used to do tons of like audiobooks and all kinds of stuff. And still when I'm in the car with people, they'll be playing it. But when I'm by myself, no music, no radio, nothing in the car. My quiet walks. Finding my love of yoga again, and then in yoga, and I have a triangle that I meditate under, this really bronze triangle, and just being able to have the downloads and the information that is not of me come into my brain. I just feel I feel so blessed and so honored that I get to potentially put this out in the world.
Right. Yes. It sounds like, yeah, that I kind of connected with that at some point this year. I know for myself personally, I can get into judgment if I'm not moving fast enough. I'm a Virgo. So, so
I know about Virgos. I was married to one and my mom is one.
Yeah. Lots of self-judgment. So, and you always got to be moving and doing something. And so this year has been such an opportunity for me because it was almost like I was judging the judgment, which was a double judge. And so I realized, actually Lauren Reagan, Lauren, she's, you've probably seen her on Andrea's Intuitive Happy Hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's friends with Dana and I. Okay. And she shared something about just because you're observing that you're in judgment, that there's a judgment there can still be an observation. We call it a judgment and it doesn't have to be. So I let go of that and I just started practicing, really, really practicing this year at truly being in the moment and not bringing any of the past resistance with me and truly honoring what you were just talking about a minute ago, honoring the space that I'm in and whatever that feeling is, just being super aware and honoring that. And it is just really transformed probably this last, like you said, 3 or 4 months of 2020
has
for me.
Just been has it been the stillness, like what's helped you the most, like capturing your thoughts when they're happening, or what's helped you the most get through it?
Well, so I'm a nature girl, so I've been outside and been still, quite a bit. I typically get my downloads stepping out of the bathtub for whatever reason. It's not long in the bathtub. It's when I'm getting out, I'm like, oh, I get these like, I don't know if I've just released a bunch of stuff and let it all go. And then stepping out of the bathtub, I get these amazing downloads. But yeah, I'm just being more an observer of the thoughts versus placing a judgment on them. And then on a second piece of that creation point of starting from the present moment versus bringing any of the things that have happened in the past along into that creative space. And so that one actually just happened recently. I was listening to a YouTube video and I was listening to Abraham Hicks, and that kind of I heard it differently than I'd heard it before. So
no, and I mean, you mentioned, the holidays, I think for all of us, like for me at least, I've noticed I've been a little more triggered with, like, I was visiting my mom in Dallas, and I had I got into like a fight with my best friend, and like I just really noticing, okay, again, all of these things, I know it's an opportunity for me to like present it, for me to like what do I need to learn from this? But sometimes, you know, it's still that, you know, we're in our humanness too. And so just, and I'm really working on clearing, because don't we have a big date, 12/21 coming up is like a big date. Yeah, I know. I'm excited about that. So I'm really, I don't know. I think I need to be in nature a little bit more this week to just notice the things that are coming up that I need to release before I step into this new 2021, because it's going to be magical.
It is going to be. And, you know, today is a big day for manifestation. I want to say it's the solar eclipse happened in the wee hours of the morning.
Andrea told me that. She said it was a good day for us to talk.
It is. Yeah, it is a good day for us to talk. Like I have Kim, the Corporate Hippie manifestor on my show, the magical manifestor. What a perfect day for us to talk.
I love it. I love it.
Right. So, you know, it's doing what you want your life to look like, right? On the day that, you know, that the energies are so powerful. And so, yeah, it's a perfect moment for us to connect.
Well, I got my little new silver, and I pulled some cards on us, and I did my little, you know, being still before I got on the call with you to make sure, because that's part of it too for me, is just kind of, you know, just getting in that right space too, when I, you know, just sending ahead like blessings for you. And I pulled a card for you.
Oh, you did? Let's hear. Let's see.
Okay, so here's your card.
Okay, you'll have to share it with me. I can't totally see it.
It's the 6 of Wands. And what I'm noticing, or because this is all new to me, but I'm noticing you're like passionate from the card, and you're riding on a white horse, which is all about spirit. But you've got a lot of self-empowerment, and you're starting a new journey. Like I pulled that card asking spirit to show me specifically what Nicole needed to know today. And mine was the Fool, which is starting on a journey. So there's a lot of self-empowerment, and spirit is by me and the dog, but it really does ring true for me because I am starting on a journey. I'm beginning something new, and I'm scared, but I'm doing it.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's just a fear of the unknown. That's all it is. And when we can just keep taking those steps, it just starts to build our confidence, you know, just a little bit more and a little bit more. I'm so impressed by you coming on a podcast, right? Or it's really a vlog. It will turn into a podcast, but you know, I'm just impressed you coming on with, you know, it's not easy for people to jump on and be videoed and talk to somebody that they don't know. I mean, I know we've seen each other before, but we didn't know we knew each other until just a couple of days ago, which is
you could have been like, now, Kim, tell me about this corporate hippie.
Yeah. Yeah. So
sounds so magical to me.
It's just, it's such a gift to watch women just truly stepping into their power. And, you know, the steps can be grandiose, or they can be, you know, just small little steps, but it's continuing just to recognize the magic that we all have inside of ourselves.
Sister, amen for that. I love it. I love it.
All right. So I saw, when I was digging on your website, when I was checking out your book that's coming out, I saw that you had posted, or you had talked about self-care being one of the big pieces. And why don't you share, before we close out, why don't you share one of your favorite self-care tips that has really just maybe brought clarity or brought a little more connection to heart center? Share one of those with us.
So definitely meditation and stillness. It has changed my life. It has absolutely changed my life. And I started this practice, you know, it's like most people, oh, meditation, oh, it's hard, oh, it's this or it's that. And I thought the same thing. And I met Andrea, 6 years ago or something like that.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
It was like, and that truly began my journey into meditation more. And the more that I got still, and the more that I allowed, even if it was 5 minutes or 2 minutes or sometimes 20 minutes, the more manifesting that happened, the more clarity of what I wanted to happen, the more inner knowing I just trusted no matter what anybody else said. And Nicole, my best example is when I went through my breakup with Dave for the 4-month period. I mean, I thought I was going to die. Like my heart was broken. But I did something different. I went inside. I got still and I trusted that the universe, if we were meant to be together, we would be. I prayed for signs. I prayed for my angels, my team. And, I knew from that meditation that we were going to be together. I wasn't going to force it. And I did lots of rituals and all that kind of stuff, but truly it just gave me the clarity on what job to take, who to hire, if moving was the right thing, everything. So just truly going inside and meditation and stillness, it has changed my life.
Yeah, it's allowed you to connect with your highest self. It's allowed you that knowing without somebody having to tell you what you're supposed to be doing or thinking. It's such a gift. I know that, people find it challenging. Are you able to meditate in complete stillness, or do you use, go ahead.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, it's different all the time. I mean, I started my meditation listening to Deepak and Oprah. I mean, I listened to the 21 meditation series, and then that led me down to sometimes stillness where it's just me, like on a pillow. I like mantras. Like sometimes there are certain mantras. I love saying my affirmations. Like I'm a powerful creator is a big one for me. Like saying that over and over and over. Even if it's for 2 minutes, and I, being gentle with myself, getting out of my own way and being like, I don't have to do it perfectly. If that's laying on the bed for 2 minutes this morning, because I did yoga this morning, I laid in the bed for 2 minutes and thought about how grateful I was. I thought about coming on the podcast today, and I literally thought, I'm just grateful. And that was the thought before I got off, the bed today. And so I don't know, maybe I won't have time for meditation today, but I feel like this is kind of a meditation too.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Connecting with like-minded women.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said about, you might not have used this word, but giving yourself grace, versus stepping into judgment of what it's supposed to look like or be like, because everybody has a different form, right?
Absolutely. And, being on this journey that so many of us are on, just like, again, not having judgment about where someone is on their path or where I am on my path, like ultimately it just, that's the biggest thing. And I'm being called to do right now is like, just, worry about like being gentle with myself to not judge myself. Like that's the biggest gift I can give myself. That's the biggest gift I can give myself for Christmas right now, and to my stepkids and to Dave and everybody. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for letting your light shine on Stay Wild Child today. I so appreciate it, girl. And of course, this goes live in our group, Stay Wild Child, which is on Facebook. I will get it popped up on YouTube here. I might be closing on my house today. We're doing a refinance. It's
congratulations.
A little bit of a challenge. I have to sign papers either today. If it's not today, then I'll get it up on YouTube today. But
it's a really good day to sign paperwork, right?
Right? Exactly. Well, thank you so much, love, for joining me. It's so good to like really connect with you and get to chat with you.
I know. I hope to see you face to face live someday too when I'm in Texas next. I miss Texas. I miss Texas.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be back in 2021.